Zara is 4 months old today. Every single morning, her mother leans over that crib and presses a soft, warm kiss right against her forehead. It takes about 2 seconds to happen. 2 small seconds is all it ever takes. Her mother never stops to plan it or think about doing it. It happens the way breathing happens for everyone, completely automatic and entirely invisible. But right inside Zara's skull, those 2 quiet seconds just launched a massive cascade that most parents will never actually see happening. Her tiny developing brain lit up like a switchboard catching fire. Not a poetic kind of fire either. A literal neurological event unfolding in real time. Electrical signals shot across waiting neurons that had been sitting there primed for exactly that specific kind of input. Warmth on the skin, steady, gentle pressure from familiar lips. A recognizable scent arriving all at once. Zara's brain registered every one of those signals together at the exact same moment, and in direct response to all that combined sensory input, her brain did something truly remarkable that no parent ever gets to watch. It started building, not thoughts yet, not memories. Raw architecture. The physical scaffolding that will one day hold her ability to trust another human being, to calm herself back down after a scare, and to read the emotions sitting on another face. Most parents around the world kiss their babies dozens of times throughout any given day, on the soft cheek, on the round belly, on those tiny curled-up fingers, because it feels right. And honestly, those parents are absolutely right to do it, but not quite for the reason they usually think. Most parents believe that a kiss is just a gesture of pure emotion. It is absolutely all of those beautiful and tender things. But a kiss is also a biological delivery system. Every single time your lips touch your baby's skin, you send a direct neural signal. That signal travels through specialized nerve fibers sitting just beneath the soft, warm surface of your baby's skin. These particular fibers are not the ones built to detect pain or sudden sharp temperature. They are designed for one single specific purpose only: gentle and affectionate touch arriving from another human being. Scientists have named them C-tactile afferents. Your baby was born with them already wired up. When those fibers activate beneath the pressure of your kiss, they send a slow, warm signal traveling straight up into the brain, not to the region that processes danger or any kind of threat. They deliver that signal to the part of the brain that processes safety and comfort and belonging. And for a baby this young, safety is not some abstract concept. It is a chemical event. The brain hears that incoming safety signal from those specialized nerve fibers and responds immediately by releasing a generous flood of oxytocin into the entire system. You have probably heard that word before. People call oxytocin the love hormone, but honestly, that name is far too small for everything it actually does inside the body. Oxytocin is a builder and a regulator and an architect combined. Right now, at this very moment, your baby's developing brain is forming more than 1 million brand new synaptic connections every single second, 1 million per second. That is not a metaphor or exaggeration. Each one of those connections is called a synapse, a tiny microscopic bridge linking two neurons together permanently. And those bridges decide what kind of brain your child will carry into their adult life. Some of those tiny bridges will grow strong and thick with repeated use over time. Others will stay thin and fragile and quiet. The ones reinforced by repeated daily experience are the ones that survive. This is exactly where your simple morning kiss enters the story. When you kiss your baby, you are not just expressing how much love you feel. You are telling specific synapses to stay, the synapses that process feelings of comfort and belonging and safety, the synapses that learn to recognize a familiar, trusted voice, the ones that will eventually let your child manage their own emotions. Without that repeated reinforcement delivered through affectionate touch, those particular connections start to thin out gradually over time. They fade and weaken. The brain prunes them away because it assumes they are unnecessary. The brain does not automatically keep everything it builds during those early months. It only keeps what actually gets used on a regular basis. Your kiss is the signal saying these circuits matter. Zara does not understand any of this yet. She has no idea that her mother's quiet morning kiss is actively shaping the stress response system she will carry inside her body for 80 years. Here is what most parents completely miss about this whole process. They assume that simply loving their baby is enough on its own, that caring deeply means the brain will wire itself. That is actually a dangerous assumption to carry around with you, because nature gave your baby roughly 100 billion neurons at the moment of birth. But nature did not wire those neurons together. That connecting part is your responsibility as the caregiver, and the tool you were given to accomplish that enormous wiring job is not a flashcard set or a colourful mobile hanging above the crib. It is not a nursery rhyme playlist streaming in the background or an educational app running on a tablet screen nearby. The real tool is far simpler than any of those purchased things. It is your body, your warmth against their warmth, your skin pressed gently against their skin, your steady breath landing softly on their cheek, your lips pressing down against the top of their head. But here's where the trap hides, and most parents walk right through it without knowing. They naturally assume that all forms of physical touch are doing the same thing inside the brain. A quick, playful pat on the back does the same job as a slow, lingering kiss. A tickle during tummy time activates the same system as a sustained cheek press. But that is not true. Those quick, playful touches are perfectly fine and healthy for your baby. But they do not activate the same deep neurological system that builds architecture. Quick touch fires through speed-detecting fibers that process alertness. The slow fibers, the C-tactile afferents discussed earlier, respond best to gentle, sustained pressure moving at roughly 3 to 10 centimeters per second across the surface of the baby's skin. That is a specific speed. That exact speed matches the pace of a slow, lingering kiss placed on the cheek, a gentle forehead press held for 2 full seconds, a long nuzzle that says, "I'm right here." Most parents deliver that kind of slow, intentional, affectionate touch instinctively during the very first few weeks. But then daily routines pick up speed, and those slow, lingering touches quietly start to disappear. They get gradually replaced by efficient and functional handling throughout the day. A quick lift into the car seat without pausing, a fast wipe of the chin between bites of food, hurried transitions. None of that busy everyday handling is wrong or harmful in any way at all. But none of it sends the same specific, deep signal to the brain. And the brain always notices that difference. Here is what truly makes this an age trap that most parents walk straight through without ever realizing they missed something important. Your baby's brain is not equally receptive to this input at every stage. There is a biological window of peak sensitivity and receptivity sitting right underneath all of this. And that window is actively narrowing with every single month that passes. The first 12 months are peak construction. Your baby's brain during that first year of life is producing new synaptic connections at a rate that will never be matched again in their entire lifetime. Not during the school years, not ever. By the time your child reaches age 2, they will carry roughly 15,000 synapses attached to every single neuron. That is approximately 6 times more than they will have as a fully grown adult, and starting somewhere around age 2, the pruning process shifts into a much faster and more aggressive gear. The brain begins actively cutting away connections that were never reinforced through repeated sensory experience. So the gentle kiss you press against your baby's forehead this morning is not just a sweet, tender moment shared between parent and child. It is a vote for which neural connections survive. And that election for which connections stay, and which connections get permanently cut, does not last forever. There is a closing date on the ballot box, and it approaches faster than most parents realize. Parents also consistently misread the deeper purpose of the kiss itself. They believe it exists purely for emotional bonding and closeness and warmth. And yes, it absolutely serves all of those beautiful purposes. But the kiss is also quietly doing something much deeper and more structural underneath the bonding. It is directly programming your baby's internal stress response system from the ground level all the way up. That stress response system has a scientific name. Researchers call it the HPA axis. And during your baby's first year of life, that entire system is still being actively calibrated by daily sensory experience. It is learning moment by moment how high the stress hormones should spike when something threatening appears and how quickly everything should power back down to a calm, resting baseline afterward. Your kiss trains that. Let us go deeper into the actual mechanics of what is happening now. When your lips press against your baby's skin, those C-tactile fibers activate and send their signal to the posterior insular cortex. This particular brain region does not process facts or logic or language in any way. It processes pure, raw feeling. It takes sensory input and translates it into a single emotional verdict: safe or unsafe. In adult brains, that system is already fully constructed and running smoothly. But in your baby's brain, it is still actively under construction right now. And the building materials are touches received every day. From the insular cortex, the signal moves even deeper into the interior of the brain. It travels down to reach the hypothalamus. This is the exact region where oxytocin production lives and operates constantly. When that touch signal finally arrives at the hypothalamus, oxytocin floods outward through the entire system in response. And oxytocin does not simply make your baby feel warm and comfortable and content inside. It actively suppresses the production and release of cortisol. Cortisol is your baby's primary stress hormone. In small, brief doses, cortisol is perfectly healthy and normal and serves an important adaptive purpose. It helps babies respond appropriately to feelings of hunger and physical discomfort and sudden surprising changes in their immediate environment. But when cortisol stays elevated in a baby's system for too long, damage accumulates. Chronic cortisol exposure during the sensitive period of infancy can actually cause measurable shrinkage in a brain structure called the hippocampus. The hippocampus handles memory formation and new learning and emotional regulation later on. Your simple kiss actively counteracts that damaging process every time it happens. Each time oxytocin levels rise and cortisol levels drop, the hippocampus gets protected space to grow its receptors and wire properly. Researchers studying this mechanism discovered something truly extraordinary about what early affectionate touch accomplishes at the deepest level. The effects reach far beyond observable behavior and surface emotion. They change gene expression itself. In carefully controlled animal studies, offspring who received more frequent gentle contact from their caregivers developed significantly more glucocorticoid receptors in the hippocampus. More of those receptors means better cortisol regulation for life. And crucially, this was not a trait inherited through the genetic code passed from parent to offspring. It was an environmental adaptation triggered by the physical touch itself. Contact altered chemical tags on the DNA. That means every kiss you give your baby reaches past surface behavior and past visible emotion and down into the molecular code governing how their body will process and manage stress at the cellular level. But oxytocin is not the only important system that your kiss sets into motion inside the brain. Affectionate touch also triggers a release of dopamine inside the reward processing circuitry. This system teaches motivation. When your baby feels the warm sensation of your kiss and dopamine fires through those reward circuits, the brain records a powerful and lasting lesson. Human closeness produces something genuinely good worth repeating again. This early dopamine lesson becomes the foundation of your child's social motivation throughout their entire life going forward. The reason they will eventually want to seek out friendships and share and build connections. And there is still a third neurochemical system activated by your affectionate touch every time you do it: endogenous opioids. Your baby's own internally produced natural painkillers. Gentle, trusted contact triggers their release every time. This is precisely why a kiss placed carefully on a bumped head or a scraped knee actually works to reduce real experienced pain. It is not a placebo or a clever distraction technique. Your baby's brain literally produces measurable pain-relieving chemicals in direct response to gentle, affectionate physical contact from a trusted caregiver. The simple, humble kiss carries genuine pharmacological power inside every moment of connection. Now consider what happens when all three of these powerful neurochemical systems fire together simultaneously inside your baby's brain. Oxytocin calms the stress axis. Dopamine rewards the connection. Opioids ease any discomfort present. If you're just now realizing how much invisible power your daily touch carries inside it, subscribe to this channel right now, because what we cover next will change how you approach every bedtime. Researchers also discovered that consistent affectionate touch throughout the entire first year significantly strengthens something called vagal tone. The vagus nerve runs from the brain stem down through the chest and into the abdomen. Strong vagal tone means your baby can shift smoothly between alert engaged states and calm restful states without getting stuck in either one. Heart rate recovers faster. Breathing stabilizes more quickly after a scare. Babies who receive consistent skin-to-skin contact and regular affectionate touch show measurably higher vagal tone compared to babies receiving less of that input. This is not speculation or personal opinion. It is data. So what does all of this science actually mean for you right now today? It means you already have the single most important brain development tool. You do not need to buy anything new. You do not need to download a special application or sign up for a monthly subscription box full of developmental toys, but you do need to use your natural tool with more daily intention. First on the list is to slow the kiss down deliberately. A quick peck activates only surface-level touch receptors, but a slow, gentle press, lasting 2 to 3 seconds, reaches the deeper system. Hold your lips against your baby's warm forehead for a real moment. Let the warmth spread outward from the point of contact. Let that steady pressure hold. That sustained contact sends the strongest signal. Second, try to pair the kiss with direct skin-to-skin contact whenever you can. Press your bare cheek gently against their bare cheek. Let your hand rest on their uncovered arm while you lean in. Skin-to-skin contact amplifies everything the kiss is already doing inside the brain. The nerve fibers respond more strongly when no fabric barrier sits between you and your baby. The oxytocin release runs larger. Third, pay close attention to the timing of your kisses throughout the day and learn the high-value windows. After a crying spell finally winds down. After a sudden loud noise startled them badly. After an uncomfortable diaper change finally ends. These moments right after a stressful event are the highest value windows for delivering affectionate touch. Not because the kiss somehow contains more love during those moments, but because the stress system is fully activated inside and standing there waiting for a clear signal to power back down to a calm, resting baseline. Your sustained kiss is exactly that calming signal. When you kiss your baby right after a cortisol spike, you are actively teaching the HPA axis exactly how fast it should recover next time. You are calibrating the internal cortisol thermostat in real time. Fourth, never underestimate the specific power of the bedtime kiss as a brain-building tool. Sleep is when the brain consolidates and strengthens all the neural wiring it constructed during the waking hours. A slow, gentle forehead kiss, placed right before your baby drifts off into sleep, sends one final calming oxytocin pulse through the entire system. It lowers the cortisol floor for the whole night ahead. The brain does its best and cleanest construction work in a calm chemical environment. A lower cortisol floor during sleep means stronger and cleaner connections being permanently locked into place throughout every sleeping hour. Fifth, let your natural affection involve the whole face. Babies respond particularly strongly to gentle kisses placed near the soft skin around the eyes, across the temples, and along the jawline. These areas are dense. You do not need to follow a diagram or memorize a map of nerve fiber locations. Just let your natural affection move slowly and gently across their face. Your instinct already knows exactly where. Sixth, always watch your baby's cues carefully during these moments of close physical connection. If they turn their face toward the kiss or lean their body in or go completely still and soft, those responses mean the system is receiving and processing the signal well. But if they pull away from your face or stiffen their body, they simply need a brief pause right now. That is fine. Respecting that boundary is not rejection of your love at all. It is something researchers call synchrony. The brain benefits most when affectionate touch accurately matches the baby's current internal state and readiness level. Seventh, remember that skin-to-skin sessions do not need to last a long time to be genuinely effective at the neurological level. Even just 10 minutes of bare chest contact activates the full oxytocin cascade. 10 minutes is one single short coffee break. And during those 10 focused minutes, every kiss you place on your baby lands on neurologically amplified ground. The C-tactile fibers are already primed by skin contact. 8. Fathers and all secondary caregivers matter just as much in this process as the primary caregiver does. The C-tactile system does not track whose lips deliver the gentle signal. It responds to safe touch. Research shows that babies who receive regular affectionate touch from multiple trusted caregivers actually develop broader and more robust oxytocin response networks. More faces register as safe. More voices trigger the calming response automatically. Ninth, do not slow down the kissing or reduce the affectionate touch when your baby starts crawling around. Parents naturally tend to pull back on physical affection once babies start looking more independent and mobile, but the pruning window is still wide open at 8 and 9 and 10 months old. The brain is still actively deciding which connections deserve to survive. Your continued gentle touch is still casting votes. Now let us follow that single morning kiss forward through time. Past the crib and the nursery. Past the first birthday candle being blown out, into the toddler years and the school years beyond. The cortisol thermostat you carefully set during the first year does not suddenly reset itself later on. The brain keeps referring back to its original calibration setting every single time a new stressful challenge appears. A child whose thermostat was set by consistent daily affectionate touch will face a difficult test at school and feel their heart rate rise up sharply. Then it will come back down fast. A child whose thermostat was set without enough gentle input will face the exact same difficult test and feel that exact same initial stress spike. But the recovery afterward will take noticeably longer. That slower recovery pattern shows up as persistent anxiety sitting in the body, as frustration that will not settle, as the inability to sit still and refocus calmly after something goes wrong at school. Teachers will often call that pattern a behavior problem and treat it as a discipline issue. But in many cases, it is actually a calibration problem tracing back to the quantity of early affectionate touch. The synapses you reinforced with your quiet morning kiss become the exact neural circuits your child later uses to read a friend's facial expression accurately on the playground during recess time at school. Those reinforced circuits help your child notice when someone nearby is feeling sad or left out of a game. They help your child genuinely care about what another person might be experiencing on the inside. Empathy is not some mysterious personality trait that children either naturally possess or simply do not have. It is a learnable skill built on neural architecture that was shaped by early affectionate sensory experience. Children who received consistent affectionate touch during their first year of life consistently score higher on empathy and social cognition assessments by age 4, not because empathy was taught through words, because it was wired. The dopamine pathway that your kiss activated every single morning becomes the exact internal system driving your child toward friendship and connection instead of isolation and withdrawal, toward reaching out instead of shutting down completely. And the endogenous opioid system you triggered every time you kissed a bumped knee or a scratched finger becomes the resource your teenager quietly reaches for when heartbreak hits or a close friendship falls apart. They will not consciously remember the individual kiss that built that resilience inside them. They will not know where that steady inner calm originally came from. But their nervous system will carry every receipt. This is the part that stops most parents right in their tracks when they first hear it explained clearly. The idea that something so small and instinctive and invisible could be doing something so permanent, but it truly is permanent in its effects. The peer-reviewed research on this subject is not ambiguous or uncertain. Early affectionate touch physically alters both the structure and chemistry of the developing brain. It changes how specific genes express themselves going forward. It reshapes hormonal baselines for the stress response. It builds the actual physical neural architecture your child depends on for emotional regulation throughout their life. And the window in which this foundational building happens most intensely and most efficiently is the first 12 to 18 months of your baby's life. After that, the brain still grows and still learns. Every child develops differently, and every family situation is unique. If you have specific concerns about your baby's development or stress responses, please talk to your pediatrician for guidance tailored to your child. The brain does not operate on a single kiss accounting basis. It works on patterns and trends over time. The overall volume of gentle, warm, consistent contact your baby receives across weeks and months matters. So if today was genuinely hard, and you only managed one single slow forehead kiss right before bedtime tonight, that one kiss still counted. It still sent the signal, it still cast its vote. And if yesterday you held your baby skin to skin for a full 20 minutes and kissed them gently 6 separate times while they slept right there on your chest, you built something real. You are not doing too little for your baby's developing brain. You are not falling behind some invisible schedule or missing some deadline. You are already doing the single most important thing a parent can. If this changed how you see something as simple as a morning kiss, subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss what we uncover next about your child's developing brain and body. And drop a comment right now telling me this. At what moment during your day do you find yourself giving your baby the most kisses? I want to read every single one of them.